Yes.
Just the other day, there's a video that was making rounds.
Yes.
Of people being spiked.
Mchele.
Mchele business. It's a booming business.
It is.
People will spike your drink and then they, won't leave that table. If the drink
unattended
is
and your drink is
yes.
halfway, like,
yes.
Even water. I mean,
even water, yes.
People have been spiked.
If you're having your drink and you're alone, probably you're telling the waiter or the waitress who's over there to watch over your drink.
Over this. I got a phone call I got to make, and
there's a trick that trick that I usually use is that if it is 3/4 way and I went out, order another.
Absolutely.
Or don't drink at all.
Absolutely.
It might look
wasteful to other people, but then it is not.
Yes.
Yeah. Or clear your glass, leave whatever other contents if you're drinking something with the barman and tell him, have this and take care of it. So you know exactly who to target if it's a responsibility going to be pegged on whose shoulder. So that's what I tell guys, and trust me confidently, and we share in the same.
Yeah.
We tell guys
all the time
that there are things I can confidently say I can never get into. I can never get mchele for that matter. Mimi sisi kwa mchele. Yeah, I can never. Yeah. Because it's a level of exposure that it will not define us. The people who are now calling themselves, or we are actually security and safety experts. Yeah. It's just a level of investment in vigilance and just that switching on, that level of consciousness. Because you drop into a club and just very intentional, as you said. Yeah. You plan out. You're going to have soda, water, whatever it is in a club. That's what you're going for. Yeah. So you're not the guy who's going to be going in there to find someone else or somebody. Feel lucky with some
sample out.
Yeah. Oh, you saw a lady dance. Pretty nicely at the dance floor, and then you join them, and before you know it, people have lost their whole house items. They take you to their home. Because you are in some suspended between consciousness and probably death. That's what the drug does. And it's because someone goes to the club, as you say, they're not intention. They go in there and they fall. You stand for nothing, so you fall for everything. And the everything you're gonna fall for is the mchele.
So like mchele will be waiting for you.
So you go to the washroom and you come back and it's your drink. And again, if you were to check your drink even carefully, you would see there's substances in it that are foreign, but that doesn't happen because people have suspended that level of consciousness. So I guess the advice here is, and it gets back to that point, being purposed. So you go into a place, know exactly what's happening, who's around, and invest in other people where you feel your responsibility, they can have responsibility over your business. I mean, for that matter, it could be that waiter. Like, when I'm alone, I don't have a company, but I don't think the people sat around here are good guys. And for me, what I do is actually speak very audibly so that the people there get to know
that's
that
a deterrent.
I don't trust that deterrence in the first place. And to tell the barman, I'm leaving this and I know the level at which it is. So just check that out. Don't mess this up. So that's deterrence in itself. But the level of carelessness that you witness with people, and I think again it's because of the culture of security and safety that's not been invested in very critically by the masses. So very critical points you're bringing out here.
It has to be taught at a very tender age. If at all, the Ministry of Education can look at it this way, to also invest in having students being taken through what they need to know about security.
Yes.
Because Swahili, I like quoting the Swahili people. They say samaki mkunji angali mbichi.
True.
So when this child grows up in an environment where he's security savvy and he understands what is the norm, he will be able to tell what is not normal.
True.
But if you want to bombard them with this knowledge when they're already of age,
you can't teach an old dog new
tricks. So it is quite important for us to be able to even have conversation with the kids, because they are one source of information that can be able to change your life. Just the other day, there's there was a guy who was posing as Kenya Power agent.
Yes.
And it has been very common. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I have.
So unfortunately for him, he went into a homestead where the kids were very security savvy.
Yes.
So he was like, we've come here, we want to check the meter readings, and then we need this kind of that equipment is not outside, it was put inside
the house. So we have to go check it out. Of course the meter box is right within the
exactly. So the child, because the child had that conversation with the parents.
Yes.
So he was like, okay, show me your show me your identification.
Yes. Guy could not show any form of identification from that. And
then he told them that if you don't show me your identification, then I won't be able to open for you the door.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. They started enticing the kid with some presents, some sweets.
Yes.
Like, no. If it's sweets, my dad will buy me sweets.
Yes.
Yeah. So show me your identification. If you don't have any identification,
then
you either leave or I'll call the police. And this is a kid.
Imagine.
So if we are able to curb that kind of level of insecurity by nurturing it in our kids, so that they know if there's somebody who claims to be working for a certain company, they need to have some level of certification.
Yes.
And that is why you saw when we were carrying out census in Kenya.
Yeah.
Many people who were coming in
the guise of being the census people.
Yeah.
And people were robbed and people were
Yes.
robbed.
Yes.
So very well-intentioned activities that are invested in, but get hijacked by ill-intentioned individuals.
Yeah.
And it's funny, this brings, us to a point where we can discuss even the providers of security and safety, and maybe limited to just our guards, because these are the majority. We can talk about the police, we can talk about the other actors of public security and safety, machinery. Yeah. But most critically, the private security companies, and of course we are talking about the guard forces for that matter, is something that we can pretty much scrutinize deeply. It's and basically, if we are looking at the way they're now interpreting reality, against the enforcement of the protocols, health protocols, the COVID protocols, and you and I know, and very interestingly now, you see where you have guards, be it supermarkets, be it serious installations, of even national importance, critical infrastructure, you have guards now. 9 out of 10 focusing so much on the enforcement of COVID protocols, and fairly much it's sanitized pale, alafu kuja, and when you get to them, it's just the machine, the temperature is taken, and there you go. Trust me, the security and safety considerations and the enforcement of the same have now taken a backseat. Yeah. And it's something that's created a huge vulnerability. I mean, you look at places that have had to suffer direct threats, where the organizations have been overrun, people have basically gone in and done stuff. It's very much because you see the kind of laissez-faire attitude on the guard force, and because they've now what you call main effort, activity that's deemed critical for the success of mission, as the army calls it. Their main effort is now on the enforcement of COVID protocol, and fairly much is sanitize, pimwa temperature. So you could be an Osama bin Laden, God rest his soul in the sea, but you pretty much go in, because the guards, and it's not one of them. You go to any, a kid, man, you go to any organization, go to any infrastructure, and what you see, it is that. So what do you think?
Basically, they're in a comfort zone. What goes on in the private sector, you find out that it trickles down to the root cause. I like talking about the root causes. Yes. Trickles down to how do you recruit? True. And do the people who come in as security guards, are they taken over their job description? Do they know what they need to do as security guards? Yes. Because they'll pretty much just follow what they've been told. If they've been told, Linda E gate,
they'll look at
and
that
behind
gate.
the gate there's a multi-million home, they'll just look at that gate. And at the end of it, you'll find that probably there are some, vulnerable points on the hedges, on the fence. True. So he won't take his time to go on a foot patrol simply because he was told.
Stick to this. This is what all the thugs will basically come through this gate.
Yes. In the supermarket, because they want to look that they are compliant, they'll tell them, you make sure that these people have sanitized and their temperatures checked.
Everything else.
Do they even show you your current temperature? When they don't do that. They just point that thing on you and you leave. Point that thing on you. And those are things that people need to think about. Yes, the COVID protocols are supposed to be adhered to, and I support that.
Yes.
But don't forget about the security protocols as well. Because right now, when you're going to any supermarket, you'll find that you'll be met by a guard, security guard. I love calling them security officers.
Yes.
But that is to a level of professionalism.
Absolutely.
So for those who know what they're supposed to do, then they'll stop you. They vet you by just looking at you.
Yeah.
They should also even ask, even if it's a supermarket. Don't assume that this person is coming to shop.
Yeah.
So they need to challenge the people who are coming and ask them, okay, can I check your temperature? If this person is coming in to shop, then that level of conversation, even just asking, that person, if that person was intention,
you'd know.
He'll take a step back.
Absolutely.
Because if this guy was confident enough, he's seen me coming from a big car. You know, the notion is that if you're coming from a big car, then you're a big person, you don't need to be disturbed. Protocol has to be followed.
Absolutely.
The same way these other people who are walking in are being checked is the same way that person who's coming in a big car should be checked.
Standardization of security protocols and procedures that are going to be adhered to, and everybody has got to rise above them.
Yes, and that is why, the guards become so gullible, because if somebody is targeting a supermarket as a target, then the best place to start is from the guard.
True.
So he does that one time. The second time is like, so many people are too easy. So let me go in. Third time, he'll just basically be walking in and out. Before you know it, this person was doing his survey.
Yes.
He already knows, the steps he needs to take, in order to get the critical assets from the establishment, if it's a supermarket for that matter.
True.
And before you know it, it happens, and the guard was not even aware. At the end of it all, when you interview the guard, is like, this person tulikuwa tunamjua, he was a friendly person.
That's it. Everything that happens, people recall, and of course, man, we can pretty much highlight even whatever have happened. That's in public domain. The losses that have about to be incurred.
Exactly.
Serious losses. I mean, supermarkets, not just a strange topic right here. We know exactly what happened, and sadly so, the Nakoma downtown back in the day. And what the security officers did was absolutely thoughtless, and that's the thoughtlessness that we are trying to discuss here with regards to people being very, very wedded to what we call specified tasks. So the specified tasks can be like, you are here as an access control, as we call them. So you're taking care of the access control point. It could be a gate, but with that very narrow focus and without proper training that opens these security officers' minds to knowing what they could do within the boundaries of those specified tasks as now implied tasks, which would mean, doing patrols. Because it doesn't help that a guard is just 100% checking out a gate until you become homicidal, by the way. It helps much that to expect that people could, jump walls. Because that's not impossible, and of course we know. So what happened again with that level of rigidity in the way that they are mentally focused on the specified task is actually a killer in itself. And we can pretty much discuss Nakumat, so sadly so, a supermarket is on fire. You and I are thinking common sense would be, hey, gates opened, and that's an emergency. It's an emergency. Clear that area as fast as possible. It's fire. People are dying.
And yet people are looting as well.
People looted and people died because the guards were told to, lock the gates. Very, very sadly. So again, the Spidermen, Spidermen of Kilimani. This is happening, and we know it's you can pretty much draw it back to a specific security, and the lackluster, attitude around this. One particular thing. Very much when the investigations were done, it was cited. It was pointed at one particular security company that were guarding those specific profiled homes where the Spider-Man basically, came from. Targeted, and it's fairly much because, again, there's a level of internal and external conduit, so the guards were able to tell these guys. But then the homes that were also targeted, as much as we are talking about it, is those, the people who dropped their guard and people who are unaware of stuff. Because guy was, climbing walls and jumping walls, but it get to homes and people have locked their, the main door, but then the windows are left open. The doors are locked and whatever, but then the back doors are not locked. The back windows, and someone would pretty much, trap in something and Pick out a phone, and that's what the Spidermen.
So, as much as we can be talking about the security firms and the training supposed to be done, we also need to talk about the people who get these services, the people who want these services.
Yeah.
We've come at a time and age where, the consumers. We've come at a time and age where people look at security as an afterthought. Yeah. So they don't want to invest. They don't want to invest in security. Pretty much, who does security risk analysis or assessment in their dwelling homes?
Yeah.
It's rare. And those are things that you need to do. Assess how hard is your homestead as a target. How hard is your office or your factory? How hard is it? Do it periodically.
Yes.
And then for the security firms, they can also do their daily activity reports.
Yes.
And that is what would have guided if at all the guard knows that at the end of the day I'm supposed to have a daily activity report written.
Yeah.
And
they're able to put in effort and do their job excellently.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, they know they are accountable.
Yeah.
The backlight is not working anymore because there are things that could be excellently working, but at the end of the day, the backlights are not working. Yeah. So there's some place that is actually dark, and that in itself is a vulnerability.
Yes.
The wall is coming down, just by wear and tear at some point. And that could pretty much create a second gate, much as they're guarding the primary one.
Exactly.
That's another gate where people are able to slip through. So as you mentioned, and this is now the baseline, so the security risk assessment and being the blueprint upon which everything else is bounced off.
Yes.
And of course you mentioned, security sometimes can be expensive.
Yeah.
And as they say, you cannot have a champagne on a beer budget.
On a beer budget,
so we have people who are, and that comes from the consumers, people are demanding that, but then they're paying, so if you're paying bananas, as they say, you're basically employing monkeys. And those are the monkeys in quotes that are flooding the market, because again people are thinking security is just that afterthought. It's an afterthought.
It's until it happens.
Until it happens. So, and because and security and safety, being that there's a level of freedom and you are pretty much going about your business vizuri and nothing seems to happen, people start to think that maybe it's useless to even have this. But your freedom, your peace, your the lack of incidents or scary situations is because that which existed and a function of security and safety is working and has guaranteed you this.